Heaven is not your retirement. 8 shocking jobs you'll get as a co-governor. Stop thinking heaven is just rest. It's the ultimate government job. Your reward is co-governance. We reveal the 8 shocking operations, judging angels, and the ultimate co-creation assignment. Watch now. Here is the ultimate strategic revelation. Heaven is not a retirement plan. It is not an eternal vacation where your work ends. It is the sphere where your true governance begins. Many believers have embraced the unconscious mistake of confusing eternal rest, the cessation of the curse and sin, with eternal inactivity. They imagine passive worship, endless floating, or an unceasing, single activity. This profoundly limits their understanding of the co-heir destiny forged through their commitment here on earth. If the king spent billions of years creating the universe, he did not redeem humanity just to have us sit still. The truth is that heaven is a new operational sphere, a vast system of government administration and ongoing creation where the faithful co-heir is given their final glorious assignment. Every act of obedience, every sacrifice of comfort, and every test of loyalty you passed in the previous 11 subjects was merely pre-training for the real eternal work. In this powerful session, we are unveiling the 8 eternal spheres of co-governance that you, the redeemed, will actually be doing. These are not cliches. These are the legal privileges of the overcomer. We will show you that your reward is not just to be in Jesus' presence, but to work alongside him in the ultimate fulfillment of the original mandate. We commit to revealing the shocking 6th operation, the action that defines the pinnacle of our partnership with the King. This blueprint will redefine the purpose of your current suffering and infuse your present obedience with eternal strategic urgency. Sphere 1. Administering territories, reigning authority. The first mind-blowing thing you'll actually do in heaven is reign and administer territories. The strategic name for this sphere is reigning authority on delegated jurisdiction. Many believe that our earthly authority ends when we die. The legal truth is precisely the opposite. It is permanently activated. Jesus explicitly promised that faithful stewardship in this life determines the scale of governance in the next. He spoke of rewarding servants with authority over 10 cities and 5 cities. Matthew 25:21. Strategic, deep dive. Reward is responsibility. The ultimate reward is not material wealth, since all is God's. The ultimate reward is increased, permanent administrative responsibility, the right to govern the new earth and possibly beyond. Governance in practice, this is not a ceremonial title. You will be actively involved in the logistics, justice, and administration of assigned territories. The skills of leadership, strategy, problem-solving, and vision casting you developed on Earth were the mandatory pre-qualifications for your eternal role as an administrator. The legal framework, your eternal jurisdiction, is directly proportional to your proven loyalty during your short time under the old heavens. If you proved faithful in little, managing your finances, your calling, your family, you will be entrusted with much, managing cities, territories, resources. The king will never trust a co-heir with a planet if they could not manage their prayer life. The operational sphere. Imagine working with Jesus to implement the perfect, uncorrupted laws of the kingdom across vast territories, ensuring absolute justice and prosperity. You will manage resources, structure new communities, and oversee the execution of the king's will with perfect authority and wisdom. This is the completion of the mandate given to Adam and fully restored through Christ. This sphere confirms that your earthly service was not in vain. It was the legal training required to operate the eternal governance assignment. Every strategic decision you make today regarding your time and resources is a direct investment in the eternal jurisdiction you are preparing to receive. Sphere 2, full legal knowledge, absolute covenant, understanding. The second mind-blowing thing you'll actually do in heaven is receive full, unrestricted legal knowledge. The strategic name for this sphere is absolute covenant understanding. On earth, we are limited by the curse and the veil. Our knowledge is fragmented. We see in a mirror dimly, 1 Corinthians 13:12. This is a legal limitation placed on fallen humanity. In the new operational sphere, that limitation is legally removed. Strategic deep dive, the end of mystery. This sphere represents the fulfillment of intellect, the full and unclouded understanding of the divine strategy. Access to the master blueprint. You will finally receive the master blueprint, the full, unedited legal file of God's eternal plan, spanning time, space, and all dimensions. You will understand why every event, both beneficial and tragic, was legally necessary to fulfill the ultimate covenant goal. There will be no lingering questions about suffering, justice, or the mechanics of spiritual warfare. Operational wisdom, this is not just theoretical knowledge. This absolute covenant understanding is required for your governance role, Sphere 1. You cannot manage cities or judge angels without full comprehension of the King's judicial and strategic reasoning. Your administration will be flawless because your knowledge base will be perfect and comprehensive. The legal certainty, your mind, freed from the limitations of the flesh, will be able to process and comprehend the vastness of God's legal wisdom. This will result in absolute intellectual security. No more doubt, no more confusion, only the radiant certainty of the King's perfect design. This is the fulfillment of wisdom. You become a full participant in the divine intellect to the degree necessary for your assigned role. This sphere ensures that your eternal governance is based not on assumptions, but on perfect legal clarity. The frustration of limited understanding ends, replaced by the strategic joy of absolute comprehensive knowledge. Sphere 3, direct service in the presence, personal attendant service. The third mind-blowing thing you'll actually do in heaven is serve directly and constantly in the King's presence. The strategic name for this sphere is personal attendant service. Many think of heaven as Jesus ministering to us. While he wipes away every tear, our primary everlasting role is not passive reception. It is active, glorified service. The scriptures confirm that his servants will serve him, Revelation 22:3. Strategic deep dive, the honor of closeness. This sphere is the ultimate intimacy tier, being the closest, most trusted co-heir to the king. The execution of throne commands. Your service is the execution of throne decrees. When Jesus has a command to be sent to administer a territory, Sphere 1, to carry a message to another realm, or to engage in an act of new creation, you are the trusted attendant who executes the order perfectly and immediately. This is not menial labor, it is strategic service at the highest echelon of the kingdom government. The fulfillment of worship. Your service becomes the highest form of worship. Every action you take, your administration, your justice, your creative endeavors, is an act of perfect obedience that automatically results in the glorification of the King. There is no separation between your function and your adoration. The legal privilege of sight. This service is performed while literally seeing his face, Revelation 22:4. This constant, unmediated access to the source of all power and love is the ultimate legal privilege reserved for those whose hearts are pure and whose loyalty was proven without a shadow of a doubt on earth. This sphere confirms that your relationship moves from long distance to direct proximity. You become the strategic inner circle, the personal executioners of the King's will throughout eternity. Sphere 4. Perfect renewal and rest. Purposeful cessation. The fourth mind-blowing thing you'll actually do in heaven is experience perfect renewal and purposeful rest. The strategic name for this sphere is purposeful cessation for sustained operation. The concept of rest in heaven is not cessation from activity. It is cessation from the curse. On earth, rest is a legal necessity because of the friction of the curse, decay, stress, failure. In the new operational sphere, that friction is legally removed. Strategic deep dive. Rest as strategic maintenance. This sphere defines the state of 100% operational efficiency for eternity. The removal of the curse. You will never again experience exhaustion, physical decay, mental fatigue, or emotional burnout. Your glorified body and soul will operate at peak efficiency constantly. The rest described is the rest from the effects of sin. Strategic renewal. When you do pause from an eternal assignment, that cessation, purposeful maintenance. It is not recovery from damage, but a perfect recharge designed to prepare you for the next greater sphere of service or administration. Your rest is strategic. It contributes to the overall effectiveness of the kingdom's administration. The legal state of perfection. This sphere confirms your legal state of perfection. Since you are not prone to error or weariness, you can be trusted with infinite responsibility. You can manage a galaxy and never fear burnout, because the legal mechanisms of decay have been eternally nullified. This sphere ensures that your eternal service is sustainable and joyful. You are perpetually ready to execute the King's will with absolute, unyielding vigor, free from the limitations of the old heavens. Sphere 5. Judging and vindicating delegated judicial authority. The fifth mind-blowing thing you'll actually do in heaven is exercise delegated judicial authority. The strategic name for this sphere is delegated judicial authority. Many believers stop meditating on eternity at the point of receiving grace. The truth is that grace is not the end of the legal process. It is the legal qualification for you to become a judge. Scripture explicitly grants the redeemed judicial power over major aspects of creation. Do you not know that we are to judge angels? 1 Corinthians 6:3. Strategic deep dive, co-judging with Christ. This sphere confirms your ultimate legal vindicating and your role as a co-judge in the eternal government. Judicial assignment. You will be involved in the legal assessment and adjudication of matters concerning the new earth and the spiritual hierarchy. This is the ultimate fulfillment of justice being entrusted by Jesus, the righteous judge, to enforce his perfect standard without error or bias. This requires the absolute covenant understanding gained in Sphere 2. The vindicator role. This is where you witness the final, eternal vindication of God's people and his decisions. You participate in the final judgment of all spiritual opposition, confirming the absolute, undeniable righteousness of every ruling. Your past suffering is now used as expert legal testimony in the court of heaven. The blocking mechanism. The legal mechanism that blocks believers from accessing this power today is self-judgment and criticality. If you spend your time judging others based on your own flawed human standards, you prove you are not ready for the King's perfect standards. Only those who have perfectly applied the law of mercy, topic 10, are qualified to apply the law of justice in the new sphere. This sphere confirms that your future role is far more than a spiritual cheerleading. It is a sovereign, judicial position of eternal significance. Sphere 6. The shocking operation co-creation and naming eternal expansion. The sixth mind-blowing thing you'll actually do in heaven is the one that will shock you. You will participate in the co-creation and naming of the new creation. The strategic name for this sphere is eternal expansion, with Jesus. This is the ultimate, mind-bending fulfillment of the original mandate given to Adam to subdue, govern, and name the creation. Adam failed. The redeemed co-heir will fulfill it eternally. Strategic deep dive. God needs our creativity. This sphere reveals that Jesus does not merely want observers. He wants active, creative partners in the ongoing life of the kingdom. The fulfillment of the mandate. God created the earth, but he gave Adam the legal mandate to name and steward it. This delegated creative partnership was corrupted by the fall. In the new earth, the glorified mind and creative spirit of the redeemed are unleashed. You will be actively involved in the design, naming and configuration of the ongoing expansion of the new heavens and the new earth. The act of co-designing. Imagine working side by side with Jesus, taking his vision and helping to shape the reality of a new world, a new celestial body, or a new species of life. You are literally given the authority to speak things that are not yet manifested, legislative authority, and Jesus, through his creative power, confirms it into existence. This is the highest form of intimacy, shared creative power. The legal qualification. This sphere demands absolute purity and absolute humility, level 6 from topic 11. If you possess even a trace of pride, the king cannot risk you taking credit for the co-creation. The shock lies in the realization that God needs your redeemed, creative input to fulfill his desire for eternal, limitless expansion. Your past life was simply a test of trust to qualify you for this infinite creative assignment. This sphere confirms that your destiny is to be an eternal creator partner with the King, actively shaping the future of his boundless kingdom. Sphere 7. Perfect community, governance in absolute unity. The seventh mind-blowing thing you'll actually do in heaven is operate within a state of perfect community and absolute unity. The strategic name for this sphere is governance in absolute unity. On earth, relational conflict is inevitable because of the friction of the flesh and the clash of individual wills. In the new sphere, the human spirit is perfectly aligned with the Holy Spirit and with every other redeemed spirit. Strategic deep dive. The end of relational friction. This sphere confirms the fulfillment of Jesus' desire for unity, John 17, making governance flawless. Flawless administration. Governance on earth is difficult due to human motives and political infighting. In heaven, your co-governance, Sphere 1, is flawless, because you operate in perfect synergy with all other administrators. There are no competing agendas, no jealousy, and no misunderstandings. The legal proof, the existence of this perfect community, is the final, eternal legal proof to the cosmos that the gospel succeeded. It proves that God's plan was not just to save individuals, but to reconcile all things into a working, harmonious, and functional eternal government. The personal fulfillment. The joy of this sphere lies in the fact that your eternal relationships will be the purest, most supportive, and most powerful connections imaginable. Every relationship becomes a source of mutual strategic advancement and profound, unclouded love, fueling your mission and service. This sphere confirms that your eternal existence is not solitary. It is lived in a state of perfect, powerful, and strategic unity with the entire family of God. Sphere 8. Worship through glorified service, eternal veneration through action. The eighth and final mind-blowing thing you'll actually do in heaven is experience eternal worship through glorified service. The strategic name for this sphere is eternal veneration through action. Worship in the new operational sphere is not passive singing. It is a state of being where every action, your governance, your co-creation, your judicial ruling, is an act of perfect continuous adoration that reflects the King's glory. Strategic deep dive. Function is adoration. This sphere is the ultimate fulfillment of purpose. Your entire existence becomes a vehicle for God's glory. Function is adoration. Your administration in Sphere 1 is an act of worship because it perfectly reflects the King's justice. Your co-creation in Sphere 6 is an act of worship because it perfectly reflects his creative power. Your job is to emit the glory of Jesus through the perfect execution of your assigned eternal function. The law of glory, your resurrected body and spirit, operate on a law of glory. They naturally attract and radiate the light and holiness of God. The physical act of living and functioning is a constant, perfect, visible act of worship that honors the King. The eternal purpose. This confirms the ultimate purpose of your redemption, to be a vessel of glorified service that eternally magnifies Jesus Christ. This service never ends, never grows old, and never lacks joy because the source is infinite. This sphere confirms that your eternal identity is inextricably linked to your glorified function, making your existence a continuous, perfect offering to the King. Summable and activation plan. You have been given the 8-sphere blueprint, the strategic map of your eternal function as a co-heir. Heaven is not the end of your journey. It is the activation of your infinite destiny in the government of Jesus Christ. And your reward is not rest. Your reward is responsibility and authority in the new creation. Summary of the strategic mandate. Heaven is co-governance. Your eternal role involves active administration, judging, and even co-creation, the shocking Sphere 6. Earth is the legal qualifier. Your fidelity in managing time, money, and obedience. Topics 1 through 11 was the legal proof required to qualify you for Sphere 1, administering territories. The goal is perfect service. The entire eternal structure is designed to allow you to serve the King with absolute purity and power. The activation plan, 3 strategic tools for governance. You must prepare for your eternal assignment now. Use these 3 strategic tools to align your current life with your future role. Execute judicial prep. Prepare for Sphere 5. Practice applying wisdom without bias in your daily decisions. Stop gossiping and judging others based on emotion. Judge situations, not people. Practice co-creation prep. Prepare for Sphere 6. Use your creativity, skills, and talents, whether art, business strategy, or planning, to expand the kingdom now. See your job as a proving ground for eternal co-design. Govern your sphere. Prepare for Sphere 1. Start viewing your current home, finances, and relationships as your delegated territory. Govern it with the wisdom, justice, and authority you will use to govern cities in the new earth. Your final strategic challenge. Look at the 8 spheres. Which one ignites the deepest purpose in your soul? What is the legal proof you need to solidify today? I now command you to take action. Action 1. Choose your focus. In the comments below, declare the sphere number you are most excited to prepare for. E.g., I choose Sphere 6, Eternal Expansion. Action 2. Execute the prayer of eternal commission. Pray this guided prayer with me now, activating your eternal alignment. Jesus, I renounce the lie of eternal rest. I embrace my destiny as a co-governor. I commit to practicing wisdom, justice, and co-creation today, knowing my fidelity now determines my eternal jurisdiction. Prepare me for the 8 spheres of service. Amen. If this blueprint has given you a shocking new vision of eternity, please share this video with one person who is currently frustrated and needs to see the final glorious purpose of their faith.